Hello, scholars. So today I'm here to talk to you about using Prolific.com to help you collect your data. Prolific.com is both valid and reliable, and there is research out there to prove that. As you can see right here, data quality of platforms and panels for online behavioral research in the Journal of Behavior Research Methods found that Prolific does the job. So you can cite this article if you need to show that Prolific is acceptable for data collection. Okay. And by the way, there is another great resource here to help you understand about using data collection platforms, surveys, online surveys and things. And this is the online survey and bots. And this link is through viewgenielee.com. Okay, and you can click on this and get some various information. I strongly recommend that you review it, such as having bots complete your survey. We don't want that, right? Okay, so you can sign up for an account at prolific.com. Prolific.com is quick, and it's one of the more expensive platforms out there to collect data for you. So if you're going to do a quantitative study, I recommend using them to recruit people to your survey. You would set up your survey online somewhere else, like SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, whatever platform you decide to use, and you would provide them with a link. But it is really important that you determine if you have access to the population you need. So you need to set up an account and go there and look for yourself, because delimiters are what qualifies people to participate in your study. For example, I could delimit the participants to over the age of 18 and living in the USA. I could delimit to over the age of 18 living in the USA and our emergency workers. But you have to make sure that this website has the ability to delimit to what you are looking for, and then that they have enough people for you to sample from. Okay, so let's take a look at how to do that. So I might go ahead and set up a new project. Okay, and maybe I want to go in and look to see what we have. I don't need to name anything right now. Let's just take a look at something that we have. Let's look at finding our participants. All right. Now, in the last 30 days, they had 168,331 people participate in their studies. But I need to tell them what I need them to do. So I'm going to need them to find participants. Maybe I want them from the UK. Maybe I want them from the USA. You can do more countries. I'm in the USA. And I'm going to want them to screen my participants or not. Okay. I'm going to start picking from all screeners to see what I want. Look at all of these demographics I can screen on: education, work, finance, technology, behavior, geographic locations. I can add multiples of these, but maybe I'm only interested in certain ethnicities. I can select all of them. Okay. This is what they collect. Do you see that? Black, white, Asian, mixed. There's other and prefer not to say. Notice that we don't have things like Native American listed, Arabic, Indian. This matters because this goes to how you explain who you're recruiting. But I can apply that. So I want people who are going to report their race. But you know what? I don't want the people who say prefer not to say. If they won't tell me and race is part of my study, I need to exclude those. And maybe I'm looking at their education. Look at all these choices I have. But maybe I'm interested in the highest degree completed. Oh, that's the year of highest degree completed. See all of my choices? Highest level of education completed. And maybe I'm only interested in people with graduate degrees. Okay. Now notice as I keep applying these delimiters, the number of participants who match what I'm sampling, might match my population is falling. In order to have a good sample, I recommend you make sure that there's at least 500 people, if not 1,000, you can access. If that number falls below 500 or 300, you're going to have trouble meeting your sample size. You're going to have trouble with that. And you need to get rid of some delimiters or try something different. Now, maybe I want somebody with a graduate degree and I want to make sure that they are working full time. See, look at that. I can add all of these. Now I'm down to almost 6,000. And then maybe I want them in a certain industry. Let's see if we have the industry here. Organizational type. Look, remote, hybrid, working in person, employment sector, industry. Here we go. And I could pick, say I want construction. Notice it doesn't give what type of construction. Notice for emergency services, it doesn't delineate between paramedic, firefighter, and police officer. Okay, you need to know these things because when you put this in your dissertation, you need to word it exactly the same as you're using here. Okay. Now, I'll bet you money there's not a lot of people with a doctorate working in emergency services. So let's apply that and see what happens. 9. I can't sample from 9 people. So I might need to change industry. Or maybe I want to add an industry to that. So emergency and government and public administration. Now it's 220. Still not quite enough. I could add another one. But you have to be able to show I'm prolific. You have to make sure there's enough of a sample and you need to be able to hone in on that. Okay. Like some of you might say, I want them from certain states. You can do that, but is there a big enough sample size for you to be able to access it? And then you have all your delimiters will show up here. Okay. Now, the next thing you should know about is paying for it. Okay, let's see if I can go back. Okay, so I can go back now to home and I can go to the pricing calculator to determine how much this is going to cost. Now you'll calculate the required sample size for your study separately, but let's say I know I want 100 people. Okay. As far as your hourly rate goes, if you go less than 10 bucks an hour, nobody's going to do it. So, because you could do 8, but you won't recruit anybody. And then I need to reasonably assume how long it will take to take my survey. So have a couple of family members complete it, see how long it takes. But a lot of times we're looking at, 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. They're going to get paid probably for their actual time, but this can give you an idea about how much I'll spend. I'd add to that because some people will take longer, but you can get an idea of a cost. SurveyMonkey will run you a lot more than $350 for the same thing. Okay. So as you're setting up your prospectus and your study, if you plan on using Prolific, you need to go in and actually make sure you have the delimiters what qualifies somebody for your study, a large enough population in the last 30 days to be able to sample from, and then ensure that you can afford it. What you'll do with a website like this is you will create a link, create your study, and you will provide them with the survey link to your study. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in.